We talked yesterday about a poll that showed 41% of 18 to 29-year-olds, 41% approve of what Luigi did, allegedly, this murder, approve. Only 40% of that cohort says they disapprove. So basically tied. But the fact that it's tied on approve, disapprove, this murder of just his only sin was being the CEO of UnitedHealthcare is astonishing. And then here's more. This is Poll Tracker pointing out today, favorability of Luigi by age, 18 to 29, favorable opinion of him, 39% of that cohort has a favorable opinion, 30% unfavorable, 30 to 44-year-olds, unfavorable, 29, favorable, 28. So it's basically tied for 30 to 44-year-olds on whether they approve of this guy. And then as you get older, it goes down. Unfavorable within the 45 to 64, us Gen Xers, 49% unfavorable, favorable 14, 65 and up, unfavorable 63, favorable 5. But unbelievable, Justine.
Well, I think you're seeing a lot of cognitive dissonance with him and also this teenage girl who did this shooting recently. Is that right?
Yep.
And so cognitive dissonance is interesting. It's where you can't hold two different ideas in your head at the same time. So people are going, oh, well, somebody murdered somebody and, he's well off. Oh, and he's educated. And there's nothing in his social media that seems to indicate that he's insane or holds ideas that are in opposition of their positions. And do you see, like, he doesn't fit into the category that they expect, or that anybody really expects? Who expects that? And this school shooter, aren't we used to the school shooters being, I don't know, radicalized young men? Or maybe I'm speaking that incorrectly. I mean, isn't that
No, it's 19 to 26-year-old men.
But now you have a young woman, teenager, who's railing against misogyny. You see, so these two it's an interesting timing for them. They're both murderers. That's it. A murderer. They're both murderers. Neither one of them doing it out of self-defense. So in society, as far as I'm concerned, that is abhorrent and not to be, it's unacceptable in our society. You can't have a cohesive society, if that kind of thing is acceptable, obviously. But I think, what I said, I think there's a lot of cognitive dissonance for many, many people that these two killers are the types of people that they are.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think it relates to, like, we're kind of talking about the rise of wokeism too, the explosion of wokeism. And I think they're directly related to the loss of a national identity, a patriotic thread that binds us together. You know, when we grew up, that was instilled in the classroom. You'd stand up every morning and say the pledge. You know, I mean, we used to sing "My Country 'Tis of Thee" in my class in the mornings. And that's gone. And so is religion in the public square, which was absolutely one of the things that we saw the country founded on. And it's been erased and erased and erased and replaced with active school shooter drills. And there's a search for meaning.
Yeah. And be interesting to see where that started. I really liked doing the Pledge of Allegiance when I was a kid. I'm sorry to hear I know that's not been a part of a regular school mornings for a while now, and that's too bad. I'm not opposed to religion not being in schools, or you didn't say schools, you said the town square.
It's the public square.
You know, it's interesting, the spirituality, the decline, you know, when you look, there's a chart, right? The decline is really sharp, the fall off. I don't know when the sort of steep descent begins. But maybe, Megyn, it has to do with the kind of flattening of culture that the internet, public-facing internet introduced. And look, there's a lot of great things about the internet. And one of the consequences, though, was a flattening of culture, a flattening of time, too. Like imagine some interview that I did in 1987. You could find in a magazine, a 1987 issue of a magazine, and it's in context. You see other people that were, you know, popular enough at the time to be interviewed. You see ads from that time, news that was happening at that time, whatever. But now you see an interview of me from 1987 online. There's no context. It's as if I said it yesterday. Or, you know, oftentimes these interviews and articles don't have any dates on them at all. So there's that aspect of it as far as news, as far as what is happening. And then you also have just this almost a monoculture of everybody knowing what everybody's doing all at once. You no longer had these pockets, sort of, not an incubator, but an area in which, and a time and a space where something could develop and then emerge. You remember when we were kids, something, if you were living in LA, there would be like some fashion like bell bottoms or something like this. And then you'd go visit your cousins in Wisconsin or Utah or something. And they're like, what are you wearing? And then 3 or 4 years later, that would be a trend there. So all of that went away with the internet because everything's so immediate. So,
and also, I think also raunchier.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it used to be the kids were stealing the Playboys out of their dad's, you know, trunk at the foot of the bed. And now it's like graphic XXX porn available, you know, at the click of a button on the devices. And it's ubiquitous. I mean, I just had a guy on the show last week who I love named Dr. Leonard Sachs. He's a parenting expert. He's MD, PhD, went to MIT, only takes into account longitudinal, you know, focus group studies in giving his feedback, you know, so he's not like a feelings type guy. He looks at actual data and studies of like large cohorts of children to figure out what's what. And he was saying parents need to remain the primary influence in their children's life in 2024 America through age 18. 18. I said, what are you talking about? In the 70s, we had no parents. There were no parents anywhere, you know, like, and we turned out fine. You could argue we turned out better than the current generations are looking to turn out based on some of the things you discussed. And he said it was different then because the culture would step in to fill some of the void. And the culture was family ties, shows with a message, shows with two parents, shows like Little House on the Prairie, shows like the Waltons, you know. Music had a more positive message back then. You didn't turn it on and hear, as he always points out, the wet ass P word song. You know, like it was just very different.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just mean that song is like absolutely bizarre to me.
Yeah, it's disgusting. But I mean, you lived it. You were and remain. This is how we all came to know and love you, a cultural icon because of you. You were part of that messaging. And somehow we lost it. And I do think the internet was a big part in destroying it.
Well, yeah, part of it. But I think of it this way. You had, when you were interacting with your peers before the internet, you had real world consequences. You found out that behaving in a particular way got you uninvited to the next party. Mm-hmm. You were shunned in certain arenas, but there's opportunity to like earn your way back into a group or something, right? I mean, it was it was more tribal like that, right?
It was just.
But then when the internet was introduced, social media, you could actually get attention, which is not the same thing as approval. You could get attention online for behavior, and also couple that with, and this preceded the internet and social media by a bit, reality shows. So I always think back to the first reality show that I recall, which was Real World on MTV. And there was a guy on there named Puck. And Puck misbehaved. I mean, that's his name. So
I remember him.
If anybody, there's a Shakespearean play with Puck in it.
Yeah.
It's a little.
What is it? Midsummer Night's Dream? What is it?
Midsummer Night's Dream. Yeah, a little mischief maker.
Yeah.
So he was a real pain in the ass, and And then, but people were so enthralled with the idea that somebody was behaving like that, and nothing was really happening to him. And so that became a trend in on reality shows. The worst behavior got rewarded with attention and money and whatever else. So I think people saw these two things, and then that sort of tribal consequence of being a poor addition to a party or something was diluted.
For those of us who have been holding our breath for the past several months, we can finally exhale in the wake of this presidential election, right? Work can finally be done on the major issues that this country's facing, and one of the most significant is our national debt. Look, the fact is our nation's broke, and that debt is a house of cards that cannot be quickly dismantled by anyone. So the strategy remains the same when it comes to your investments. You might want to diversify your savings. Virtually all the experts say that's a good idea. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control and out of our president's control that it really can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you if you would like to convert all or part of an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, which is like a hedging of the bets. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. You just text MK to 989898 and you get your free info kit. And plus right now you will receive a free 1 ounce silver eagle for every $5,000 purchased Silver Eagle coin. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.